Your enemies are terrified. Yes, sir. Let me say it louder. For my chosen ones in the back. Listen, family, your enemies are terrified. I need somebody to drop in the comments and say, you better be. Yes, sir. Make sure you drop in the comments, family, and say, you better be. Now, here's the reality. As long as you're giving them the same level of commitment, the same amount of time, the same amount of money, the same level of availability, always being accessible, ain't nothing changed, they're never really going to be scared. They're never really going to be terrified because they are used to what you are giving them, which means you have yet to make any change. But family, even your enemies can feel the shift. Even your enemies can feel that you're starting to navigate differently, which makes them be on their toes and wonder what you are about to do next. See, family, as long as you haven't changed who you were, as long as you were still smoking and drinking, as long as you were still talking about leaving that job, as long as you were still talking about leaving that hometown, you was just talking about it, leaving your boyfriend, your ex, whoever, that abusive whatever, they looked at it as if it was child's play. But they're terrified now because you're starting to do things differently. Yeah, they terrified now because you really are going to the gym. They terrified now because you really started going to school. They terrified now. The point is, y'all, is this right here. They know when you're serious and they know when you're not because actions always speak louder than words. And so within this video, y'all, I want to speak about why your enemies are terrified. They feel that shift. And we gonna talk about it, all right? But with that being said, y'all, first thing is first, y'all make sure y'all leave a thumbs up on this video as well as subscribe to the channel. And of course, y'all be sure to ring my bell so you can be notified every time your boy drop a video. How y'all been doing, family? I know I've been MIA for about 2-3 days, okay? But I always tell y'all, I gotta take that mental break. I always have to take that emotional recharge, and I always have to physically recharge myself, right? And of course, y'all, I go to the gym and stuff like that. So that's another form of release for me. But I have to take that space and that break because in the content creation world, y'all, it's almost like the Matrix. It's never enough. And so you have to find a way to say, you know what? Stop. That's it. No more videos. No more music. No more this. No more that. You follow what I'm saying? It's always about that next big video, that next big hit, you know, or that next piece of content. And so I exit the Matrix and I go into my own world and I just chill and I just relax and I pray and I meditate and I eat good food. So speaking of the food, what y'all ate, man? And of course, we know the football season just ended with the Super Bowl. Who won, y'all? The Seattle Seahawks, all right? However, I watched that yesterday. I was going for the Patriots, but man, the Patriots, Drake May just wasn't ready, man. He wasn't ready. But with that being said, on that particular day yesterday, y'all, I grilled. That's therapeutic for me as well. I had some grilled ribs. I had some baked beans and some potato salad. I be throwing down, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you, but that's what I had for the Super Bowl. Let me know what y'all did yesterday. Let me know how y'all weekend was. Just let me know I'm in your business, all right? But anyway, y'all, that's a little bit about myself. We back like Jack, and we're about to come with some more bangers. Y'all know how we get down. Let's go ahead and get directly into it, family. Number one, all right, of the first reason of why your enemies are terrified, your confidence has gotten stronger, okay? Your confidence has gotten stronger. Somebody drop in the comments. You can just say this is me or me, Reno, whatever you want to say. If you are the type of individual where whenever you gain momentum or whenever you get some good energy or positive energy, it's almost like it builds up your confidence. So for instance, if you're the type of person who starts something and if you see that you can finish it, it's almost like it puts a battery in your back to do something else. Are you that type of individual to where whenever you start something new and you actually complete it, it's almost like it put another battery in your back to be like, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this right here. That's the type of person I am. However, y'all, that also builds up your confidence. Your confidence gets stronger. All right. A person know when you're not confident, of course, because you walk with your head down, but also too, y'all, because you may not be sure of yourself. You may always ask questions. You may always wonder if you're beautiful, if you're handsome, if you're doing great, if you're doing fine. Does this sound like I make sense? So whatever the case is, like you may be always looking for a form of validation. But when you start completing things without their validation, when you start completing things without their attention, when you start getting things done without them being on the side of you, it's going to start causing them to be a little terrified because your confidence has gotten stronger. Family, since the Super Bowl just passed, I'm going to just use that as an analogy. If you take a football team who has gained momentum, then quite frankly, their confidence is going to get stronger. All right? So when you take the Seattle Seahawks and then you got the Patriots, of course, the Patriots really couldn't get no momentum. But guess who did get the momentum? The Seattle Seahawks. They got their momentum. And as you gain momentum, what do you gain? Also, you gain confidence. Like, we can do this. I got this. You know what? I can complete this. I can graduate. I can make it past this. I can get past the trauma. I can heal. All these different things, right? It's because you have gained the momentum, okay? And when you don't have momentum, you lose that confidence. You don't feel like you can do it. You don't feel like you can heal. You don't feel like you can get past it. The list goes on. What I'm trying to get y'all to understand is that the reason why your enemies are terrified is because your confidence has gotten stronger. Your confidence has gotten stronger, and that's what they notice about you. Okay, it causes them to be terrified. They want you to still be that person who don't know who they are. They still want you to be that person who's scared. They still want you to be that person who's apologetically them. They still want you to be that person who's almost scared of their own shadow. You follow what I'm saying? Your enemies are terrified. Number 2, they no longer affect you. All right, they no longer affect you. Family, as long as whenever a person says something about you, if you're wondering, why they said it, if you're wondering how they felt when they said it, if you actually care about what they're saying, and the list goes on, they know that it affects you. All right, like, whether you was a kid or an adult, it's always been that one person or maybe even few people, most times it's family or the people who you are in a relationship with. I'm going to say it again, y'all. Most times it's family or the person or the people who you are in a relationship with who can affect you, all right? And they know what buttons to push and they know what strings to pull, all right, to get you to go there. But most times, y'all, those are the people who can get you out that character or make you feel like you ain't who you know you are, okay? However, y'all, when they no longer affect you, y'all, that begins to affect them. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. When you are unbothered, apparently that bothers people, all right? When people see that their jokes no longer get to you, it bothers them. When people see that them no longer giving you things, don't get to you anymore, that bothers them. When people realize that them not being around you anymore don't bother you, that bothers them. Apparently, y'all, when you are unbothered, you have become a arrogant, self-centered, conceited, and heartless individual, when in actuality, you're all of the opposite, all right, of that. You're nothing but the opposite of that. And that's what makes people dislike you, but more importantly, terrified of you. It's because they no longer affect you. Have anybody watched the movie called It? Right? It the Clown. I know they got It, like multiple It's, like It 1, It 2. I believe they got It 3. Then they also have a television show of It's. So y'all get what I'm talking about. But basically, this clown is one that resides in your head. Now, he's real and he will kill you. However, he's only inflated when he affects you. Meaning, when you make him big, he becomes bigger. When you make him small, he becomes smaller. When you stop thinking that he can harm you and hurt you, he becomes smaller. That's what the movie shows. It shows that as long as you are afraid of him, then He knows he affects you, and of course he's going to kill you. But when you show him that you're not afraid of him, when you show him that he's not as important, he don't get underneath your skin, you don't care about the weaknesses and vulnerabilities he's trying to bring up. I'm talking about it decline here, y'all. It makes him deflate. He becomes smaller, all right? A lot of times, y'all, in life, the people, the situations you go through, environments, and so on, are only as big as you make it, all right? And that was the same thing with It the Clown. However, y'all, getting back to the point is that they no longer affect you, all right? They're no longer big in your life. Somebody drop in the comments and say, you're not that important. Yes, sir. Make sure you drop in the comments, family, and say you're not that important. Number 3, you escaped. You escaped. Family, how many of us have escaped the job, right, that everybody tried to keep you at? Your family tried to keep you at. Co-workers tried to keep you at. You don't escape that job because maybe you had more knowledge, you had more expertise, you had more education. Maybe you had different connections. I mean, you just had a different skill set, a different gift. You escaped that job. You escaped emotional bondage. You escaped that abusive marriage. You escaped that manipulative person. You escaped. And see, as long as a person see that they have you held in bondage or in captivity, they're not scared. Why? Because I can track you down. I can hunt you down. I see where you are. I know that you're not just around here, right? I can calculate your steps. I can calculate your movements. Are you understanding what I'm saying? But whenever you have escaped, they don't know what's to be found next. They don't know what's to happen next, right? Which is going to be another talking point. But my point on this is that when you have escaped, it causes your enemies to be terrified. I was watching a movie by the name of I think it's called Spell, right? Spell. It has Omari in it. Loretta Devine, I believe that's her name. But anyway, she casted a spell on him, and she made it very difficult for him to leave the crib, right? And somehow he found a way to escape. And once he escaped, she was so terrified, right? Because she still had plans on utilizing him for another spell. She was going to basically use him for a sacrifice, all right? However, y'all, as long as he was trapped up in that room, she was okay. As long as he was trapped up in that room, she could use him. As long as he was trapped up in that room, in that bed, she knew where he was. The moment he escaped, became terrified. And that's the same thing with your enemies, y'all. As long as they see you and they can track you and they know what your intentions are and what you're going to do next and all these different things, they okay, all right? But when you escaped, you became a problem. You became an issue. You became bigger than what they were. Number 4, it's going to be this right here, y'all. The way you cut them off was crucial, all right? It was crucial. This is the person who can walk away with no problem, all right? This is the person who can walk away with no problem. I say this all the time, y'all. Anything that you can't walk away from in less than 3 seconds is a liability to you. You have to be able to walk away from it, period. All right, and I forgot what movie that was, but Robert De Niro had said it inside of some movie. But anything you can't walk away from in less than 3 seconds is a liability to you. You have to be able to walk away. You have that trait. You have that characteristic. Now, if I play God's advocate, some things are worth fighting for. All right. I know some people going to say, oh, look at Reno getting soft on us. No, y'all, I'm going to be honest. Some things are worth fighting for. Not all things, but some things, okay? It's worth fighting for your education. It's worth fighting for your freedom. It's worth fighting for a person who's fighting for you. It's worth fighting for things that are not just only beneficial, but it's of value. Some things you have to fight for. That's just life. However, y'all, some things you must walk away from, especially if it's becoming a liability. The reason why I say this, y'all, is because everything, everyone, every environment, every situation is not meant to be cut off. However, y'all, when you use your discernment, you're going to cut off the right individuals, all right? The way you cut them off was crucial. They thought that they was going to be able to do the same things, and they could not have been any further from the truth. All right. Moving on to the next one, y'all. Number 5 is going to be this right here, y'all. Your next move worries them. All right. Your next move worries them. Rena, what are you saying right now? See, family, when you are a threat to somebody's job, your next move, it's going to worry them. When you are a threat to somebody's, career or a threat to somebody's position, your next move is going to worry them. And the list goes on, y'all. When you are a threat, period, all right, your next move is going to worry them. Why? Because you just may be the person to take my spot. You just may be the person to take me out of position. You just may be the person who start making more money than me, who get more opportunity, who get to go to the parties, who get to go to the lunches, who get to rub elbows with this person, whatever the case is, because you are a threat. They not worrying about a person who ain't a threat. They're not worried about somebody who can't take them out of position. They're not worried about somebody who's not as intelligent as them. But family, that's all of who you are. You are a threat, and your enemies know it. And that's why they are terrified. Does this make sense, y'all? Drop in the comments and let me know. But with that being said, family, we're going to go ahead and do a recap, and then we'll conclude this video. But number 1, y'all, your confidence has gotten stronger. Number 2, they no longer affect you. Number 3, you escaped. Number 4, the way you cut them off was crucial. And number 5, y'all, your next move worries them, all right? With that being said, family, I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. But before we do so, y'all make sure y'all go over to the Rich Mentality Academy, get you actually join the membership and meet your tribe, get you a Yes Sir t-shirt, Yes Sir hoodie, and be sure to book a one-on-one session with your boy. I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Keep a rich mentality. Peace.